All right, so you know that FTX thing that blew up? Everyone's talking about it. Well, today we're going to really get into one specific part of it all, Caroline Ellison's sentencing. A listener actually sent in this article from BLOX News. Thanks for that, by the way. And we're diving deep. Now, I know all this financial stuff can be confusing, but we're going to break it all down, make it clear, maybe even a little interesting. So, ready?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, cool. This BLOX article, it's about Caroline Ellison. She was CEO of Alameda Research. Just got sentenced to 2 years, right, for her part in FTX crashing down. 2 years might not sound like much considering, but get this, she also has to pay an $11 billion fine. Whoa, right. Okay, before we get into that, I mean, $11 billion, let's make sure everyone's on the same page. What even are FTX and Alameda Research?
Yeah, it's a lot of names and numbers flying around. Basically, FTX, think of it like the stock market, but for Bitcoin, Ethereum, that kind of digital money. Alameda Research, they were the ones playing the market, trading. And the thing tying them together, both started by Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh, yeah, him. Bankman-Fried, he was, what, like the crypto superstar for a minute there? Now, fraudster, talk about a fall. And to add to it all, Ellison, Bankman-Fried, they weren't just working together, they were dating, too.
Kind of wild, right? Adds a whole other level to everything.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what they were talking about when no one else is around. Seriously. Anyway, back to Ellison. Even if 2 years doesn't seem like much compared to Bankman-Fried's 25, she was definitely a big part of all this. Which brings us back to that fine $11 billion. Is that even possible to pay? I mean, I know I don't have that lying around. What's the point of a number that big?
You're right to be surprised. It's super unlikely she'll ever actually pay all of that. These huge fines for white-collar crimes, they're more about making a statement than actually getting the money. Like it's showing how seriously they're taking it, and it's supposed to scare anyone else thinking of trying something similar.
So it's more about the message, not actually getting the money back.
Exactly. The court wants to be really clear. These actions, they have serious, serious consequences, even if they can't recover every single dollar.
I see. So it's about setting an example. Now, the article also said that because Ellison cooperated, that's why her sentence was reduced. How does that work?
Oh, so that's plea deals. Basically, she said, okay, I'm guilty, and she gave them info. In exchange, they go easier on the sentence. It's a strategy, helps both sides. Ellison, she gets less time, potentially, and they get, well, inside information, maybe even evidence to use against Bankman-Fried.
So it's like a trade. She gets a lighter sentence, and they get a better shot at convicting him.
Exactly. And in this case, Ellison, as the former CEO, her words were probably really important. She knew how both companies work from the inside, right? Could really say what was happening behind the scenes.
Like the key witness, someone who was actually there and can back up what the prosecution is saying.
And not just anyone, someone high up in both companies. She could directly link Bankman-Fried to the fraud.
Wow. This was huge. Like, the article called the FTX crash one of the biggest financial fraud cases in U.S. history. Are they exaggerating, or is it really that serious? What does that even mean?
Oh, no, they're serious. FTX crashing, it wasn't just about the money that disappeared. It was a huge deal for cryptocurrency in general. FTX was massive. People trusted it, millions of them. When it all fell apart, it was like this shockwave. Suddenly, nobody knew if they could trust cryptocurrency anymore, and really the whole tech world was affected. People started questioning everything. Are these new systems safe? Can we rely on them? Like the whole foundation was shaky.
So it wasn't just about what was lost. It was about making everyone unsure about the entire system.
Yeah, exactly. What's the future of cryptocurrency? How do we regulate this new tech? So many questions. It wasn't just a small thing. It was a huge earthquake. Changed everything about how people saw money and tech.
It really makes you think. We throw around words like crypto and blockchain all the time, but it really comes down to trust, doesn't it? And when that's gone, the consequences are huge. But it's not just about the money, is it? I mean, Ellison, she was only 29 when all this went down. That's incredibly young to be in charge of something that big.
It is. She was basically a kid thrown into this position of power and responsibility. And let's be real, she was working with someone who, by all accounts, was willing to take huge risks, maybe even manipulate people to get what he wanted.
It's almost like a story, isn't it? The ambition, the betrayal, the consequences. Are there any bigger lessons here beyond just the money? This isn't just about cryptocurrency, is it?
No, definitely not. This is about ethics, taking responsibility for your actions, especially in fields like finance and tech, where it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of what's new and forget about doing what's right. It's like this idea that in tech, you have to move fast and break things to be successful. It's almost celebrated. But sometimes the things you break are, trust, ethics, people's lives even.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I bet a lot of people listening are thinking, what happens to her now, like after the sentencing? Does she just disappear? Or is there a way back from something like this?
Well, she'll do her time, obviously. But after that, it's not just over. 3 years of probation, that means being supervised, probably some rules about what she can and can't do. Career-wise, that's tough to say. She's clearly smart, right? And she's learned a huge, expensive lesson. But that stigma, this scandal, it's going to be hard to escape. Whether she can work in that world again, who knows? It's a long road.
It is. It really makes you think about the choices we make. Like one bad decision and the effects can last your whole life.
Definitely. And it goes beyond just her, right?
Huh.
FTX crashing, it hurt the whole cryptocurrency world. People lost trust, and it made everyone wonder if this whole thing, this new kind of money, if it could even work long term.
And this wasn't an isolated thing either, right? We've seen these kinds of scandals before, and I'm sure we'll see them again.
Sadly, yeah, that's probably true. People are always going to want more money, more power. It's human nature. As tech changes, the ways to take advantage of it, to cheat the system, those are going to change too.
It's like a game. They catch one scheme and then another one pops up. So what can we even do about it? Can we stop this from happening again, or are we doomed to repeat the same mistakes?
That's the big question, isn't it? If there was an easy answer, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But we're not powerless either. Stronger regulations, that's a start. We need clear rules, especially with something new like cryptocurrency, where it's not always obvious what's allowed and what isn't.
So like better guardrails. But rules can only do so much, right? People break them all the time.
Of course, you're right. It has to be about more than that. It's about making sure everyone values ethical behavior. Doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Investors need to think critically, ask where their money is going, what's really behind these promises of getting rich quick. And companies, especially the big ones, they have to put ethics first, not just chasing profits.
It's about the long game, building something that lasts. Even if it means maybe not making as much money right this second, it feels like this whole situation, it's a wake-up call, not just for crypto, but for everyone.
I think that's a great way to put it. The FTX story, it reminds us that no industry is immune to greed, and that progress, innovation, it can never come at the cost of ethics and integrity.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, right? Like when something's new and shiny, everyone wants in. But you got to think about the bigger picture.
For sure. And it's not just about the money. It's about asking yourself, what am I really supporting? What are the consequences of my actions?
Exactly. And not just for you, but for everyone else too.
It's like, are we so focused on the next big thing that we forget to think about what's right and wrong?
Yeah.
Are we cutting corners ethically just to get ahead? Those are important questions to ask.
It's about looking beyond the surface, right?
Yeah.
Don't just chase the quick buck. Think about what happens down the line.
Absolutely. And that goes for everyone, investors, entrepreneurs, all of us. Do your research, be transparent, and if something feels off, don't be afraid to say something.
Yeah, like they always say, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. And look, we can't predict everything. There's always going to be someone trying to game the system. But we can be smarter, more aware of the risks, and make better choices.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a really interesting deep dive. We went from Caroline Ellison's sentence to like the whole future of cryptocurrency and even bigger than that.
It's a wild story, and honestly, I think there's still a lot we don't know.
For sure. Definitely something to think about. And hey, huge thanks to you, the listener, for sending this article in. It's your curiosity that makes these conversations so engaging, keeps us on our toes.
It's been great unpacking all this with you.
And to everyone listening, let us know what you think. Could something like FTX happen again? What can we do about it? We love hearing from you, so keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.